Hi, I'm Stephen Stamp. I'm the editor for Inside Lacrosse's IL Indoor site, and I'm really enjoying the genesis of Inside the World of Box Lacrosse with Adam Levy and Greg Beecher here on Blue Squatch Productions. Thanks for being with us. Check out the link to the full show below. So hopefully you saw segment one. You can go check it out on Blue Squatch Productions and all over the socials. We looked at the inside scoop on Buffalo and Rochester coming this weekend. And now we are to the awards section of the show. We're going to take a look every week at what we thought and what we're thinking about awards for the National Lacrosse League. Last week, we looked at the Rookie of the Year and who we picked and who we thought were contenders. And this week, we're going to look at Transition Player of the Year, who we picked going into the season, and who may have pushed themselves into the conversation in week one. So, Adam, do you want to start with who you picked in the preseason?
Yeah, Stamper. So I went with Mike Messenger. I'm a big Mike Messenger guy. He's just such a big, strong, athletic player who has great defensive skills all over the floor in transition. Really helps that Saskatchewan Rush offense get things going, pushing the ball up the floor. He had a good game. I was there in Albany watching him play. To see other guys like, I know Holden Gartland did some great things in transition. Jake Boudreau was phenomenal as a transition player in that game as well. But, over the weekend, when I look at guys, I mean, Matt Gilray, who we kind of just touched on in the last segment, he was really a focal point of Rochester's success in that game. But for me, Zach Currier of the San Diego Seals in his first game, he did a little bit.
Still weird to say that, right?
Yeah, I know, right? And he really did, like, as he always does, a little bit of everything. It seemed like he even had a little bit more energy and excitement going into this one, as I would imagine. A lot of fire after an unexpected move during the offseason. And so what he did with goals and assists and caused turnovers and a ton of loose balls, he just looked like he's going to be an incredible piece of that San Diego team. And we saw what happened after that unfortunate first quarter, and he was definitely a part of the turnaround.
Yeah, I went with Matt Gilray as my preseason Transition Player of the Year. I think his recognition has been coming. He's getting his due. I think he's going to be right up there for the discussion. It is such a hard category to pick. Jake Boudreau was my dark horse. I don't know how much of a dark horse he is. I think people get how good he is at this point, but just he's kind of outside the main group that are usually discussed for this award. I think he was great again. Messenger, of course, McKay, all these guys, Courier. One guy I wanted to talk about a little bit, who talking about pushing your way into the conversation, youngster Owen Grant in Vancouver. What a game he had. And one of the things that really struck me is he's playing on the penalty kill all the time, which for a second-year player is not that common. We're going to get to a rookie who's doing the same in a little bit. But for Owen Grant, we're going to take a look at these 3 goals that he scored. And make sure you check out the Lacrosse Matrix podcast, because he got the Levi bump talking about his hat trick last year with Rochester. But look at these goals. This first one is gorgeous. So first, the defensive play, just scooping up the ball. Somebody gets in the way of a pass coming across. The ball is knocked loose. There's Grant picking it up. And look at these wheels. He is so big. He shouldn't be that fast. And watch the Priolo curl. The Priolo just patented this a few years ago, where he runs down the floor, peels off like he's going to the bench, pretends to pass it off, and then just goes. Look at all the Mammoth defenders buy this. And Owen Grant has a wide open lane to that. Look at that space.
It's unbelievable.
Because he turned and faked. And then beautiful bounce shot past Dylan Ward. And a couple of other great plays. Adam, why don't you go through the second play that he makes here? Because it is spectacular as well.
Yeah, so I mean, look at this creativity, this hustle to get that loose ball. I mean, using the stick, and then again, that speed. Look at how far ahead he gets, places the ball perfectly. It really was just another example of he's physical, he's scrappy, he's just got such a knack for getting the ball on his stick. But yeah, that speed for a guy his size, and he's a big dude. It's really impressive. And I think that this was just another example. I mean, that's like, you don't see that very often, where you got a cross check and then the ball bounces, and then while you're moving, trying to get that break, you get that finish. It was really impressive to see.
And all of it comes together in this third goal on the hat trick. This is fantastic. That is Grant with the cross check right there on Tyson Gibson. I love that he plays the man instead of the ball. As it's up in the air, you see guys jumping up after the ball. There's a good case for that, but he does such a great job of knocking Gibson away. The ball bounces off his leg. You can actually go and read more about this on IL Indoor in my 5 things we learned this week that Owen Grant is a problem. I mean, we knew he was good, but look at this: the cross check, ball bounces, he finds it, gets there first, taps it ahead, and then the wheels and a beautiful finish. I mean, this kid had a week. If we're picking transition player of the week, I think it's Owen Grant, hands down.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, like, really, he exemplified everything that you want in a transition player. Starts all the way from the back, the creativity, the strength, the scrappiness. He was excellent. So it was great to see him start off the year this way.
Let's head east a little bit. And Adam, you were in Albany, and we've talked a lot about, obviously, Dyson Williams and Zach Masson as rookies in Albany after they had that great class last year. Last year's rookie class was supposed to include Will Johansson. He had to miss it. He was the video guy, but you got to see him play in person. And that's who I was talking about. Playing the penalty kill as a rookie shows a lot of faith from your coaches.
Yeah, and he was phenomenal. He was another guy that just did a little bit of everything. You could see that the year that he missed, that he was just so ready to get back on the floor with the energy that he brought, scooping up a ton of important loose balls, the way that he was just so gritty defensively. Really liked what I saw from him. And yeah, when your coaches say, hey, we believe in you, which is something, by the way, I need to say that Coach Clark has done so well with this entire young team, putting so much trust in what their abilities are. There was a reason that Coach Clark and GM Clark drafted all of these young players to build towards something like this. And Will definitely showed it in that first game. So, defensively, he was phenomenal, but for him to score as well, to get that kind of it's not even a monkey on your back when you're a defenseman to get a goal, but that was very cool.
First game in the NLL, there's not much of a monkey developed yet, right?
Right.
But other candidates, like as you look around the league, let's just toss out some names of other guys that can get in this discussion. I'll start with one who I think gets a little overlooked, but I remember being at the trials for Team Canada in St. Catharines this summer, and one guy that was actually on their alternate list and was fantastic at that tournament, at that gathering, was Jordan Gillis in Colorado. He is so good, so smart, fast. Not the biggest guy in terms of height and that, but he is so strong. And I think he could get himself into that conversation as well.
Yeah, and it was also really good to see. I mean, obviously the result of the game didn't turn out, but if you're looking at transition players, you got to mention Scott Dominey, who was very good. Ton of loose balls. I think he had the most loose balls amongst transition players and even defenders in week one, and caused a couple turnovers, had a couple goals. He always brings the energy. When he scores a goal, man, that's Selly. I get pumped up because he is just so fired up. Super fit guy. But yeah, he was great. Obviously, the score line and the way that game turned out doesn't help it, but he was very good. And then obviously we had talked about Jake Boudreau, who was very good. Connor Kurse needs a shout out too. He's still improving, and he played decent as well in Las Vegas. And I think that people are excited, especially the American fans are excited to see what he can do.
I've got another dark horse from the East. Justin Martin, rookie last year, made the all-rookie team. A guy that I've been saying for about 3 years, I think should be in the NLL. Toronto gave him his shot last year, and he was great. And he can just be a game changer when he gets rolling. So I think he's somebody to really keep an eye on as well. I think you look at around the league. There's so many guys, and that could be included. I mean, Ryan Karafenko is a guy who's played such solid defense for Halifax, really learning that side of the game. But I think it feels like key moments go a long way toward getting people recognized and involved in discussions for awards and things. And those couple of plays he made where he was just holding onto the ball at the end of a game to kill out the time and running through everyone, just getting cross-checked and whacked and banged, and like 3-4 guys hitting him, and he just held on to it. And I think he's a guy that has to be considered a candidate as well.
Yeah, I mean, we only had 1 week and every team didn't play. So like those Halifax guys, we haven't even mentioned Jake Withers' name, who is always going to be in that conversation as well. Ian McKay, who we talked about earlier. And, it's just interesting, not saying he's going to be in the conversation for Transition Player of the Year, but it's going to be very exciting to see when we talk about unfamiliar faces and new places is Joey Capito. in Georgia this weekend. That'll be very interesting to see how he fits in. Is it kind of a resurgence in his new role there? So I'm excited to see what happens. And, I'm not, again, saying that he's going to be a transition finalist, but he's obviously been one of the elite guys in transition, lightning Joey Capito. So excited to see that.
Well, you bring up Georgia, and that was where I was going next as well, but not for Capito. I was thinking Brian Cole, who, I mean, he's been such a presence for the Swarm. He's won 2 gold medals with Canada at the World Championships, partly because they love to have somebody, a righty and a lefty defender, who can go up and play forward if they need to, because you have such a small lineup for that week. If there's an injury, that you can't call somebody from the practice squad or from anywhere, you go with the people you're there with. So Cole has played a lot of forward for Georgia. I don't think he'll be doing much of it now, just because they've got, Shane Jackson, Andrew Q. Well, he might. They've got Seth Van Scheppen listed as a forward. He'll probably still go up and play some shifts. So he's a guy that always has to be considered in that group. And I think he was in the NLL, the coach's Jams top 5, was he not?
I think he was actually number 5. Yeah, I think
there you go.
I think that's right.
All right, so before we move on to the next segment, though, guys, because we've hit our magic 11-minute mark, actually.
Okay.
They ran Courier out the front door at San Diego. He was actually like the 3rd or the 4th guy to come out that front door, I noticed. So it was funny when you talked about him for Transition Player of the Year. I wonder if they will continue to kind of do that. But I was going to ask Stamper about Justin Martin, so it was funny he went into there. But that was my 2 thoughts. Was I think, one, Justin Martin is extremely underrated, which obviously Stamper agrees. But I'm curious as to what your thoughts are as far as Courier. Do you think they'll continue to run him out of that front door? Because his goal, he was on there for almost a full minute before he finally scored. He went all the way from offense down onto defense and then back up to offense, basically.
One thing, when you talk about Transition Player of the Year, so many times it's been a guy who's actually played a lot of offense. You look at Jeff Shatler, the year he won Transition Player of the Year, he was actually the MVP of the league because he was playing forward, but he was still listed at transition. Jordan McIntosh won a couple of Transition Player of the Year awards, and he's been a great transition player, but he was really playing forward the years that he won those awards. And now you've got Zach Courier in San Diego, who's played some offense here and there, but he's a transition guy. All the loose balls, all the, the caused turnovers. He's he's the top caused turnover guy for a single season ever. He played a fair bit of offense for San Diego. They've got Ryan Benesh. They've got Adam Noakes, the rookie. They've got Trent Chico, who is actually a transition guy in the summer with Victoria, and he's been playing up front. So Courier has been staying up for some shifts or even going out for offensive shifts. Is that something we see more of? And if he scores more points, how does anyone compete with him in the Transition Player of the Year award contest?
Exactly. But yeah, I'm glad you just brought up DeChico, because I actually was just talking to Rob Hellier, one of the newest members of the San Diego Seals, about DeChico and about Courier, who was impressed by both of them in the San Diego win against Philadelphia. And he really emphasized how, especially for a young kid like DeChico, how he was everywhere, all over the floor. I mean, you saw that with his 3 assists and then everything he could do defensively. And one of the things that I think is going to be great for a guy like DeChico is working off of and working with a guy like Zach Courier, because it seems like the way that they're playing each of them in San Diego is going to benefit DeChico for the long term, because Zach is just such a great mentor.
That will wrap it up for the awards section of Inside the World of Box Lacrosse. We will be back with another peek at the rookies, because we just can't get enough of the rookies this year. I'm Steven Samp, he's Adam Levy, and we'll be right back.
Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. For Stamper, Greg Beecher, I'm Adam Levy for Inside the World of Box Lacrosse. Make sure to check out the entire episode on Blue Squatch's YouTube.